Welcome to the Bearded Bro Show podcast. I am your host, Dustin, and we are not forever joined by Trav today. We are joined by the third member of the Bearded Bro Show podcast, Mr. Lucas Starr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty damn good. How are you doing?
Doing all right myself. I was just doing some chores around the house. But guys, Lucas is the man behind the scenes on the podcast. He is the one that when you see these episodes go up and they're edited and done well, that's Lucas. So thank you for everything you do for us. We appreciate you as always.
No problem. Sorry, the last few have been a little late. Been dealing with some shit. Thought I had COVID for like a week, and I don't. So
yeah,
that's good.
Plus, being a full-time student, because the last time that we talked, you were actually were you back home or were you still in Florida at the time?
I think I was still in Florida.
I think so. But we had Lucas on the show before. Yeah, you definitely were.
Yeah,
because that was like really early on in season 1 that you were on there.
Yes, it was like almost a year ago, I think.
Which is actually pretty crazy. But Lucas has been on here before. He's the man of many surgeries and transplants, and
Yes.
soon breaking the world record for most daily vlogs uploaded to YouTube.
That's so crazy. It's like 2 years from now, I think, because I'm on year 8 and he did 10 years, so it'll be like not too far from now, which is blowing my mind.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. So if you guys don't see a podcast for a week, don't give Lucas any shit for it. The man is honestly one of the most kind-hearted and hardest working people that I know on the internet. Like, hands down.
Thank you.
Lucas is a superstar. No pun intended, because that's his last name.
It is, and it is my real last name. Everybody always asks me, they're like, is that your real last name or is that your like stage name? I'm like, I don't think I could come up with something that cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely thought that, like, when I first met you and actually started watching your videos all those years ago, I definitely thought your last name, Starr, which is Starr, was definitely like a persona on the internet. I never knew that it was like your actual last name until probably when actually we started to get like really close.
Yeah, and like I joke. I think it's because I joke about who my dad is. Like, I say my dad is the lead singer of Steel Panther, and that's not his real name. So I think that's where people get confused. I'm just like, oh yeah, my dad's Steel Panther's lead singer, and they're like, oh, so your real name is like Signs or something. I don't even know what his last name actually is, but it's something similar to that.
That's awesome. So this episode is going to be a little bit different than what you guys normally hear. And Trav and I were going to take a week off from the podcast just so Lucas wasn't bogged down with work. So this will be out. We still have one more episode going out before this one. So you guys won't be hearing this for like another week or two. But Lucas, again, I want to go back to when I mentioned that Lucas is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. And somebody who actually is a fellow YouTuber took advantage of that. And this is something that I've known about for a long time now. And Lucas has mentioned it on my live stream before. We've had this conversation. But Lucas, he come to me tonight and he's like, you know what, man, I'm ready to tell the story. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of an insight here. Basically, a fellow content creator. Are we dropping names?
I don't know. I really don't want to throw the guy under the bus, because for all the shit he's put me through, I do think he does make good videos. He just put me through a lot of shit. So I don't think we're gonna name drop him.
Okay, we're not gonna name drop. Fellow content creator in the food review scene, blew up like pretty recently. I think he's, oh god, probably closing in on 30K.
Oh yeah, I think he hit 20K. Right around the time like all this stuff started happening, so it's kind of starting to make sense.
And I'm going to be completely upfront and honest with you guys. The person that we are talking about, it may not rhyme with. I can't
think of anything either.
It may or may not be. I said it. If you hear this man and you have a problem, please feel free to message me like an adult, and I will gladly tell you my fucking feelings on you. I don't care, because what this man did to Lucas was just completely uncalled for being a grown man, for one.
Right.
And just some of the shady, just weird shit that he would do and just lie about overall was very stupid. That's all I'm saying, though. I'm not going to mention his name anymore.
No.
But the reason Lucas even went to Full Sail University in Florida was because of him. And I'll let Lucas kind of give us the backstory. Tell us everything.
Okay, so it all started in a world. No, I'm just kidding. I should make that sound like all cinematic when I put it in the podcast. But it started about 7 years ago, right? Like, I was hitting my peak on the vlogging scene. It's when I started selling shirts and stuff like that. So that was like around 2015.
Right when your channel was doing well.
Yeah, and I had gone to VidCon, and that's right. That's the first time that Charles actually said anything to me. He's like, "Holy shit, you're right behind me." And he was like, that's one of my favorite vlogs, day 569. Go check it out. That's the date that I'll always remember, the vlog number.
Yes.
He had messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, I shouted you out in one of my videos. It's the Mountain Dew video." And at this time, he had like probably 4 or 5 Mountain Dews out at the time, because I think they were doing like all those voltage and all that stuff at the time. So I had never heard of this guy. I added him on Facebook because he had a few mutual friends. So I'm like, okay, I'll add this guy, whatever. And I said, "Oh, cool, thank you. I'll shout you out in my channel, I guess," because I am very shy, and that I feel like that shocks some people when I tell them that, because I'm also very outgoing. I'm an extroverted introvert. That's like the best way I can, or introverted extrovert. That's the best way I can put it.
It makes sense. I'm honestly kind of the same way. Like, it's one thing to be on the internet and like let your personality shine, which you do. You're very genuine in your videos, and I like to think that I'm the same way. But when it comes to actually like if Lucas and I met face to face, there would probably we probably wouldn't know what to say to each other. But like over the phone or like through Facebook or however we communicate now, it's so natural and just free flowing. But I feel like the day we met each other in person, which actually might be pretty soon because of my wedding.
That is true.
I feel like that it might take a little bit. Like, we might have to throw in a couple icebreakers there to eventually start chatting it up.
Like, the conversations leading up to like us going and recording, it would freak people out, I think. I mean, Dustin is in my phone as Daddy Dustin, so that goes to show you how I am.
I call him Starr Daddy.
Yep,
Or Daddy Starr.
I was honestly, Trav sent me an Apple Watch, a brand new Apple Watch, and I was expecting it to say it on
Huh?
Dustin.
Oh, Trav?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. See, I'm all nervous about this already. But Dustin, excuse me, sent me an Apple Watch, and I was expecting it to say Daddy Starr on the box, but it didn't. So, because that probably would have freaked some people out.
Yeah, my mom packaged the Apple Watch. My mom, and Lucas can vouch for me on this, my mom is an absolute beast when it comes to shipping products and packaging.
If the charger and the extra band hadn't come in a pink envelope, I would have thought Apple did it. Like, that's the best I can say. So, back to the story. So like I said, I'm introverted, I'm extroverted, and I didn't know what to say to this guy. So I was like, "Oh, I'll shout you out or whatever." He's like, "Cool, thanks, man." And then he didn't talk to me very much. I think he kind of set up a meet and greet with me and I don't know if you know who that is, but at VidCon when I was in LA that year. So, and I had talked a little bit, whatever, nothing big. Didn't hear from the guy after that until, I want to say October or November. He messaged me and asked me for a shirt. I'm like, okay, yeah, it'll get me some exposure. He was, at the time, he had a lot more subscribers than I did. I was like, it'll get me exposure. So, sent him a shirt, whatever. Then, one day, randomly, this was maybe the same year, honestly. If I get dates mixed up, I apologize. This is a long story, or a long beginning, I guess.
And a lot happened too. Like, there's a lot leading up to the whole thing.
Yeah. So I sent him the shirt, whatever. He calls me one day. And I'm like, that's weird. This guy, I've never talked to this guy in my life on the phone. So I was a little on edge. I had some stuff I needed to do. And the whole point of the conversation was he was trying to get me to move to Florida at this time. Like, this was back before my second transplant, before all that. And he's just like, oh, you should go to, I think it was Gulf Coast University or something like that. And at the time, my mom had been kind of on me to go to school because I started to get a little bit better with my kidney and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll apply. I never heard back from the school. Still haven't heard back from the school to this day. And this has been 7-8 years. And
Well, fuck that school.
that I honestly feel like that was a sign.
Right. Right. Hey. Yeah.
So anyway, time goes on. He and I talk, every day pretty much. He ended up becoming like a brother to me. He helped me through some stuff, and we talked, like I said, every day, whether it was on the phone or just through texting. Although it was mostly through Hangout apps, which is kind of weird, but hey, whatever. So much so that he even vlogged a day for me when I was in the hospital after transplant because I couldn't do shit. I was knocked out for a couple of days. And, I mean, that's just, I kind of think goes to show you how much I trusted him because I gave him my email, my password for YouTube. So, which it's been changed and everything. And now Dustin is the only person that actually has my password for YouTube. So, if all my videos go missing, you know who did it.
It was all me.
Yep. He's trying to not get me to break the record. So, then he started getting on me again about, he's like, oh, well, you had your transplant. You're all good to go now. Come down to Florida. Come down to Florida. Just move down here. Let's work some fairs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, it takes a while to heal from a transplant. I mean, they didn't clear me to really go back to work or school or anything until probably a year later, I would say. Almost a year later. So I told him, no, not right now. And then for some reason, I got a wild hair up my ass. And told my mom on the way home from my year check-in, I just go, I'm moving to Florida and I'm going to go to Full Sail University. And she's like, what? I said, that's what I want to do. I said, I just feel like that's what I need to do. I need to get out of here. At the time, I had been going through some stuff with a certain person that Dustin knows about.
I know all about it.
Yep. So, and I was trying to get off of her, I guess is a big thing that I was trying to do. And I felt also that getting a transplant was kind of a way for me to restart my life and begin again, like, in a way. So, that was my thing. And my mom's like, okay, go for it. She's like, whatever. So I made the first phone call the next day. Got everything set up for Full Sail. And got it kind of, I guess, approved. I don't know the right word, but it was just confirmed, I guess, is the best word to say. Is like, I was going to go to Full Sail to go for show production. So a couple months go by, and my mom's like, you're going to need a roommate. And I'm like, okay, the school will provide that. She's like, I would prefer you lived with someone who you knew. And I was like, okay. First person I went to. Again, I was like, hey, man, I'm moving to Florida. And you would have thought that he loves Emma Stone. Sorry for, like, dropping all this info on him, but he loves Emma Stone. You would have thought Emma Stone just told him he would marry her. Like, that's how excited he was. It was, like, it blew my mind. So he's like, oh, I'll move in with you. We'll get jobs. We'll get all this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Just going on again and again and again about all this stuff that we were going to do. And you will find that that's a theme in this relationship. So time goes on. 2018 was a very shitty year for me. My grandma passed away. the love of my life got engaged. Not to me. Not to me. I should add that. Um, and it was a tough year. And throughout the whole year, the school that I go to, Full Sail, offers it's called a backstage tour. And literally every month I signed up to go to this thing. And he and I were gonna go look at apartments. There was a whole plan for that. Because my grandma was sick, it never happened. I've never done the backstage tour, but I hear it's great when the world gets back to normal. If you're planning on going to Full Sail, don't. But that's another story, by the way. Full Sail is a whole other story. Um, so then it comes time, after my grandma had passed away, my mom and I were like, okay, we need to go down here. We need to go look for an apartment, look for, a doctor, all that stuff. Because with, like, if Dustin moved, it's really not a big deal. He doesn't have to find, like, doctors, a bunch of doctors and stuff like that I would have to do. Like, I have to find a kidney doctor, a urologist. I have to find all this stuff that I have to go, and have. And so that was, like, our whole plan. Then I broke my leg. And
Yes.
that was fun. He and I had made plans to get a job at a fair in Fort Myers. And I was going to help him work this fair and all that stuff. And you would have thought when I told him this, that I broke my leg, you would have thought that I had a gun to his head. That, like, it was the end of the world for him. So I'm like, I'm sorry. And he started going off on the girl that I was with when I broke my leg, which is just like, I don't even know how logical that is, but to me it's not.
I mean, it literally wasn't even her fault. Like, you did it walking into her house.
Exactly. Like, I tripped, and it was really my own fault how I fell. Like, I should have fallen backwards, and I fell forwards. And that's what happened. Broke my leg. Can't help it. I have brittle bones. And so he was pretty pissed off at me. I felt like at the time, he really didn't call much, didn't text me as much as he was at the time, and kind of threw me off a little bit. And I would text him. I broke my leg in September, and I was moving in January, or middle of January. That's when it was. And
Which was plenty of time to heal too.
oh,
Yeah.
I actually healed in about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's like a superpower I have, I guess, is I can heal from a broken leg in less time than I should. But yeah, like, one second. We talked a little bit here and there, and I was like, listen, we need to get an apartment, because this stuff takes time. And he's like, oh yeah, I've just been busy with this fair, and now I'm gonna go home for Thanksgiving or whatever. And I was like, well, still, we need to talk, and look stuff up and all this stuff. And by December, end of December, we still hadn't had an apartment. And finally, I'm just like, told my mom, I said, I'm gonna find one. Whatever. If it has 2 bedrooms, if it has 3 bedrooms, I don't care. I'm gonna find it, make them pay half. Found an apartment. Called them. I said, hey, I need all your info, your license, whatever you need for an apartment. I don't even know now.
Yeah. A lot of places run background checks too, and I've moved to Florida. I've lived in an apartment in Florida, so like I kind of know what Lucas's process was.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass, and the cost of living in Florida is cheap, but to rent an apartment, whew, they are pricey.
I had a 1-bedroom, probably 500 square foot. I don't even know if that's how big it was. And it was almost $1,100 a month.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
ridiculous pricing. So I texted him. I said, hey, I need all this, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, well, I was just hoping, because I might not. I was just thinking either I'm not going to live there very long, or, we'll get a house down there. So, like, maybe your mom could just, it'll go in her name. And I'm just like,
No.
no. But I did it anyway. I just told my mom. I said I don't know if he's really gonna be there the whole time. So let's just put it in your name or my name, whatever. Um, Actually, let's back up a little bit from this to why he thought we were gonna have a house. So this other girl that we knew, she, I guess, was going through a divorce. I don't know. That's what he told me. Uh, Seems like from what I've saw since then, she's a happily married woman, and he told me that he told me, oh yeah, she's gonna move in with us. It's gonna be like all this cool stuff. She's gonna show us around Florida. She's lived there her whole life. Blah 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 blah. So his thinking or planning, I guess, I don't really know what it was that he and I were gonna move into an apartment for a few months, and then we were gonna move into a house with her. Well, I had texted her one day. I said, "Hey, what's the deal? Are you actually moving in with us?" She's like, no, this is really the first I've heard about it." I was like, "Oh, okay. Sorry to bother you. Hope I didn't intrude, whatever." So I messaged him and I said that to him. He's like, "Oh, she's just messing around. She doesn't want anybody to know." So I'll be honest, to this day, I still don't know if that was even actually supposed to happen, if that was just something he told me, if, like anything.
I honestly feel like it was something he told you, because then if well, yeah, a house is going to be this much money, but we're going to have a third person, it's going to cut the cost out, like
Yeah.
oh, sorry about that. My throat
No
got
worries.
a little tickly there. But yeah, I feel like that was his way of like trying to make you feel better about the situation. And before we get further, wasn't there a whole issue with the computer that happened before Florida?
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy. Like, this story blows my mind right here.
So I don't know if this was before or after transplant. I want to say before, but I'm not really sure. It had to have been before transplant, like 2016, I think it was. He calls me and he's like, "Hey, can you buy this computer for me? I'll pay you back." And I'm like, "How much is it?" Because as Dustin said, you'll hear it a bunch about me. I'm one of the nicest people I think you'll ever meet. I will do anything for anybody, and that's the truth. Again, back to the quote unquote love of my life. Wait till you hear those stories, people. So
when Lucas is ready to talk about that, that's a wild ride.
That's a 10-part 4-hour podcast.
Yes.
So I was like, "Well, how much is it?" He's like, "Oh, you can get it for," it was like $16 or $20 a month, something like that, off of all places, QVC, which is weird enough as it is. You would think a YouTuber would be buying a laptop off of Best Buy, B&H, or Walmart, I guess, even, but not HSN or Home Shopping Network, wherever he got it.
And mind you, he also made it seem like that YouTube was his job.
Yes. YouTube
like
was.
He had money from YouTube. Like that was it. That was like he was a breadwinner when it came to YouTube.
It was probably $68 a month, but that's a little inside joke for Dustin and I. But yeah, so he's like, "Yeah, I'll pay you every month, whatever. I'll give you if it was, I think it was 16, he was going to give me $20 every month. I think that's what it was, to compensate for like interest and stuff like that." So I'm like, okay, 16, $20 isn't that bad a month. I can, that's doable. Mm-hmm. So, I do that and I buy the computer, and he's like, "What happened? I haven't got it yet." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I haven't got the computer yet. Did you just take it?" I was like, "No, I didn't take it." So I looked in the account. Well, he was living in a hotel at the time, and QVC won't ship to hotels. Apparently, many other businesses don't do that as well. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, they're like, "Oh, because he could live somewhere else by the time it gets to him because shipping is weird, whatever." So I was like, "Okay." So I shipped it to my house, which didn't cost me a thing. But then I shipped it to the hotel that he was at, and that cost me fucking I think $28
Yeah.
because it was a heavy. It's not laptops are heavy these days, and it was like a nice HP. It was probably I would say in comparison of the weight of a MacBook, maybe a little bit lighter, but excuse me, still it was expensive to ship.
Hmm.
And time goes on. Again, like I said, this is 2016, 2015, something in that range. And I was like, hey, you owe me for this computer. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll get to it. What's your PayPal? Give him my PayPal. Still hadn't seen any money. And that kind of, to make a long story short on that, I didn't get any money until I lived with the guy. So that's, 4 years right there, 5 years that I didn't get any
So
money.
so by the time you even had lived with him, you paid that computer off.
Yeah, I mean, technically probably 4 or 5 times, by the time, by the time that I had gotten to live with him in Florida, he had never paid me a dime to that computer. So, yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's mind-blowing. And I don't know why I continued to let him just do that. The other thing, too, was I've been in a couple of his videos. Whether it was me doing the video, there was a Reaper Ranch video that I did for him, and there was one other video that I did with him where he told me I would get 100% of the money that he made from that video. See, it's been 4 years from the one video. I still haven't seen a cent from that video. Haven't seen any money from him, until I moved in with him, like I said. Trying to think, where was I at before that? Oh, all the apartment stuff. So, got signed up for the apartment, blah, blah, blah. And so it comes to time to move in. So we had about 1,000,001 different ideas for how we were going to meet up for the first time. And the first thing was he was going to get his brother to drive him to Illinois, where I'm at. And then we were going to ride down all together to kind of take some leeway off of one of us, because it was me, my mom, my aunt that drove down there in 2 cars. So we figured it'd be nice to have 4 drivers, make it a little easier on us. Well, he calls me 2 days before I'm supposed to leave. Hey, I'm just going to take a bus down to Orlando. I'll meet you there. I'm like, what? So this had thrown off our entire schedule, because I had planned on sleeping all day Monday. I left on a Monday. Was going to sleep all day Monday, and when we were going to leave at 5 or 6 o'clock that night and drive till midnight to get to Nashville, because it's 6 hours to Nashville from where I live. So he calls and says that, and I don't know what to do. I didn't want to tell my mom, because I was like, she's going to freak out. And she did. I told her, and she did. So,
And where was he at this time?
I think Alabama. I don't remember. Maybe New York. I don't know. He's a gypsy. He goes all over the place. But yeah, I was like, just like, okay, well, that ruins our entire day, our entire week, our trip, really, because with 4 drivers, it should have taken us maybe 2 days to get to Florida from Illinois, maybe a little bit longer. It took us 4 days, essentially. But that's because I wanted to stop in Sonoya, Georgia, where The Walking Dead is filmed, because I love that show, and I wanted to, look there, and I wanted to eat at Norman Reedus' restaurant, all this stuff. So that part of that is like me being me and wanting to do that. Get down to Florida, and I asked them, I think we were in Georgia, because we drove from Georgia all the way to Florida in a day. And I asked them, I said, hey, have you left yet? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just, all this stuff, I got to pack and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, we're in Florida. We're moving in tomorrow. He's like, and originally he was supposed to be there when we moved in to help move in, because I took a lot of stuff with me. I took almost my entire life down to Florida, because like I said, I was going down there to make a new life for myself. and obviously that didn't happen, but we'll get to that. Um, so this was the 22nd, I believe, of January in 2019 or 2018. Sorry, no, 2019. See, I'm getting my years mixed up already. But but yeah, so me, my mom, and my aunt, we all get everything put in the house, like my bed, my entertainment center, all that stuff into the house. The only thing that I didn't take with me was furniture, like living room furniture, but everything else I had with me. Like I got for Christmas, like pots and pans, all that stuff, had it all with me. No big deal. And then I'm like, "Hey man, when are you going to be here?" "Oh, I'm leaving tonight. I'll be there tomorrow." So, he got there the day the second day that we got everything moved in, I want to say. So basically, he did help move in, but it was only stuff that he picked out, which I thought was kind of shitty, in my opinion. Um, and all this packing and stuff, he said the man bought a duffel bag and a book bag. That's all he brought with him to Florida. Now, where I brought 2 carfuls of stuff. I don't know how that works, but whatever. um, so that night, it was my aunt's birthday, and we all went out to eat. Obviously took him along with us, because my mom wasn't considering him part of the family at this time. And we went out to eat, and blah, blah, blah. And then we went to Walmart to get everything you need for a house, because I never realized this. Oh, my voice just cracked. Puberty sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I never realized this. It costs a lot of money when you move into a new place. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, you have to buy groceries, you have to buy cleaning supplies, you have to buy shower curtains, all this stuff. And I'm just, like, amazed by, like, my mom's just, she's with me, and I'm like, okay, I want this, this, and this. And she's like, anything that you and Lucas will like, that's similar in your taste. She's like, you can get whatever you think is something similar to you and Lucas's liking. I'll pay for it. So he gets his own shopping cart, and he just takes off. And I'm like, I don't know where he's going. And he has a cart full of stuff. Some of the stuff, like, I would never eat in my entire life. Like, I'm trying to think of something, like yogurts and stuff like that. Like, I have this weird thing about those Chobani mix-in yogurts. Like, I don't know if have you seen those or had those?
Yeah, they're not that good.
No, I had one time and it was expired, so it turned me off of those forever. And he has like 5 of these in the cart, and I'm like, what? No, I don't like those. And just, it's like, there was some stuff, like some cereal and stuff like that. Like, this guy lives off cereal. When he's not doing food reviews, he lives off cereal. It's kind of scary and sad. So he has like 5 or 6 boxes of cereal. Our bill, I think, totaled it out to be close to like $300 for groceries.
Yeah.
Which, again, moving into some place that's not that bad, but I feel like if it was just me, because at the time I was a very picky eater, it would have probably been close to like $200, maybe even less, because I was living off of chicken and rice, and that's like the two cheapest things I think you can buy at a store besides like dollar stuff,
like spaghetti stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like I literally in Florida lived off chicken, rice, and vegetables, and I lost 20 pounds. So if you guys ever want to lose weight, just eat chicken and rice, and it'll happen.
It's so good too.
It is. I've had it for dinner the last couple of nights. So, so we get back to the house. We're putting everything away, and if you guys know me, watch my videos, you know that I have scoliosis, and it's hard for me to stand up or walk a long distance. So I really didn't help. Like, I helped to the best of my ability. That's the way I'm going to put it. To help put stuff away, help get stuff in the house, or the apartment, rather. And he came in and sat on the sofa. So like he did it for longer than I think he should have. He did end up helping putting stuff away because I think my mom said something to him, kind of in like a mom voice. It was funny. I laughed when it happened. So, he starts putting stuff away, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as my mom left, because my mom and aunt were leaving the next morning at like 3 in the morning to get back home because they had to go to work. And so my mom and my aunt were saying their goodbyes, which obviously was kind of emotional. And, I'll be honest, I'd never... this is, to this day, this is the farthest I've ever been away from my mom, was Florida to Illinois. And, I'm not one to show emotion either, which is weird. I say it to myself, like, I cry over the weirdest things, and I don't understand it, and I'll never understand it.
Same, dude.
Like,
same.
Like, I didn't cry at my grandma's funeral, or my grandpa's. And, like, but I can be watching fucking Criminal Minds, and one of my favorite characters gets shot, and I'm a mess. I don't get it. Like, I do not get it.
I'm the same way. It's weird. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
And it's kind of like, to me, I feel like it's sad. Like that's part of the reason. This is a confession podcast, I guess, from me. That's part of the reason I'm afraid to have a girlfriend, because I'm like, what if she's like crying and I'm just like sitting there like, I don't know what to do right now, but sucks you're crying,
You know what's really funny too, before we get back to it, is that's how I am. I can't stand seeing Trista cry.
Right.
But when it happens, like, I don't know what to do. Like, my instinct is I just hug her,
Right.
Whether it's like happy tears, sad tears, but like it's so weird. Like, when people like will call me and like cry on the phone, back when people used to do that. I don't really talk to anybody much anymore, but like, it was so weird.
Right.
I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to say?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just like, my mom's like hugging me, like bawling her eyes out, like, and I'm just like, okay, like, I'm gonna miss you, but this is awkward. Like, I don't know, I don't know how to act, especially like, okay, like, I'll just say her name, Haley, would send me videos of her crying, and I just like, I don't know how to react to this, and it's the hardest thing for me to like comprehend in my own mind, is that I don't feel emotion. Like, it's just a thing. Like, I feel emotion over stupid shit. That's the best way I can describe it. And and like, so he had gone like into my room, because, by the way, hold on, let me say this first. We had a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't think anybody knows that, but we had a 1-bedroom apartment. So he was sleeping on the couch. And God bless him for that, honest to God, because I slept on that couch from time to time, and it was a pain in the ass, and the back and the neck. So God bless him for that. And so he goes back into my room while this is happening. And he comes back out, and he's like, "Why are you not crying?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't feel emotion." He's like, "That's weird." He's like, when was the last time you cried? And I was like, I don't know, before my transplant? He's like, what? Before your transplant? I said, well, yeah, when I went into surgery, I cried because I thought I was going to fucking die. Like, that's exactly how I said it to him. He's like, but you're not going to see your mom for like 4 or 5 months. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm going to call her every day, FaceTime her every day. And this should have been my first sign. He goes, well, you won't last long. I was like, okay.
Ooh.
Like,
I would have socked him in the fucking mouth.
And I don't know if he meant it like crying wise, like, I'm not going to last long not crying. I'm not going to last long, I don't know what he meant by it. Like, I guess, like, that I would go home quicker than because I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had bets on me coming home. Like, there was probably a pool somewhere, and I probably beat them all out. Just because this is, like I said, this was the first time I've ever done anything like this. This was just so beyond anything that anybody ever thought I would do, I think. Like, I had teachers messaging me when I moved to Florida. Like, oh, my God, we're so happy for you. Like, this is, we never thought you'd leave our town. Like, well, fuck you for that, for one. But, so I that was, like, my first thing. Like, I was like, okay, it's kind of shitty thing to say to your new roommate that you've known personally, I would say, I guess, for less than a day, So I go to bed at, like, 11 o'clock because I was just trying to, like, not, like, it was weird. Like, after that, I started kind of feeling, like, a little bit of emotion, but it was more like, okay, like, damn, this is real. Like, I'm not going to see my mom for 4 or 5 months, but I'm going to FaceTime her. I'm going to call her. It's kind of how I was going through it. I went to bed, woke up the next day, and he's laying on the couch watching some duck hunting show. It wasn't Duck Dynasty, but it was some weird duck hunting show because we only had, like, 50 channels because I was too cheap to pay for cable, and so was he, which, whatever. And I was like, can we watch something else? Like, I have Netflix on my computer. Like, or, and I could hook up my computer to the TV. Oh, no, I like this show. I used to watch it all the time. I was like, okay. And that day, it rained all day, so we really didn't get to do much. And then, like, the first couple of weeks, it was smooth. It was smooth sailing. Like, not even going to lie. It was, like, probably the best time of my life. And then, as everyone probably knows about me, I love wrestling. It's kind of synonymous. It's Lucas and wrestling. It's kind of weird. I wanted to watch a pay-per-view that Sunday. It was a Royal Rumble, actually. And I was just hooked up to my phone with the TV or whatever. And he's like, okay, so how long is this show going to be? I was like, oh, it's usually, like, 3 or 4 hours. Oh, wow. I might have to leave. I'm like, why? Oh, I don't watch wrestling. I 80s wrestling is where it's at. I said, well, give it a chance, like, because this was football season, and I'd been watching all the football games he wanted to watch, and I hate football. Hate all sports, honestly, except for, like, hockey. And I was like, oh, just give it a chance. And he's like, all right, okay, I guess. So we watched it. It kept cutting out every now and again, and that's because our internet sucked. I was using my phone, so my internet sucked, I guess. And whatever. Then I start. The first month, actually, I didn't start school at all, and I started going to school in March. So the first month I was there was kind of me just trying to get acclimated to the area, and after that, it was like I said, it was smooth sailing for the first, like, probably 3 or 4 weeks, I would say. Couple hiccups here and there. One of the first ones was when I started going to school. I take medicine every day for my transplant, and my counter in my apartment had, like, this little bar off of it, and I would sit my medicine there, and I would put a cup of water or a bottle of water, whatever. And that's how I would take my medicine every day, because I take it twice a day. So I go to school one day and come home, and he's just sitting there. I walk in the door, and he's pointing at the glass of water. What's this? I was like, it's water for my medicine that I'm going to take in 4 hours. Oh, no. We don't leave stuff on the counter. I was like, what? I said, it's my space. Like, that's my stuff right there. It's not hurting you. You don't, And that was, like, another kind of major sign that something was, kind of weird. And then the other thing, too, is, like, he would never let me put him in a vlog. He would never let me put him in a vlog. Ever. Because I didn't have enough subscribers. That was his reasoning.
And mind you, we're not talking about anybody around Lucas and I's age. This is a 50-year-old man.
Right. And someone, like, at the time, he had maybe, like, 2,000 subscribers above me. He didn't, it's not like it was, it's not like I was living with someone like I'm trying to think of somebody who will not get me or get the channel taken down. So I'm gonna say David Dobrik. It's not like he didn't have like billions of subscribers or millions of subscribers like David Dobrik. It was just like, dude, it's not gonna hurt you if you're accidentally in a video. And he was like freaking out this one time because his calf was in a video. It's like, if somebody can spot you by a calf, you should marry them because that's amazing. Or you should be afraid of them, I guess, if they know you what your calf looks like. So like that was like one of the major things. It was like, okay, but I thought, like, he had told me before, he's like, I'm gonna help you grow your channel. Like that's what we're gonna do in Florida. I'm gonna help you grow your channel. I'm like, oh, sweet, thank you, appreciate it. And obviously that never happened. Because I'm still sitting at 380 when I feel like if that would have happened, I feel like I would be sitting 1,000, 2,000 subscribers by now. I'm not saying I wanted anything big, or a ton of subscribers. Down the road, yes, I would love to have millions and billions of subscribers so I could buy all my friends' houses and cars. But, not then. So then again, like, just a few things here and there, like, I don't think he really took into consideration all of my, and I hate saying disability, like, I hate saying that word, but that's what it is. Like, I don't think he thought about them as well as he should have. Like, I would do my best to clean, not saying I left, like, shit or anything on the floor, but I would do my best to sweep stuff up and mop when I could and clean the bathroom the best that I could. And I don't think he, like, really took that into consideration, which kind of made me mad. I think he's a germaphobe, which that's no big deal. There's a lot of those around. What's up, Howie Mandel? So, like, that was, just, it was weird things here and there. So the next big thing was, it was 3/14. Or no. Rewind. It was my transplant anniversary. This is the biggest thing that happened. So the day before my transplant anniversary, he's like, hey, my friends want to know if you want to go to a ball game. And I think it was in Tampa or something like that. I don't really remember. But it was Boston's like training facility or whatever. Their spring, whatever, however baseball works. Spring training. There you go. It was their spring training like location. And I was like, oh, what day? And he's like, whatever day it was. And I said, well, what time? He's like, oh, like probably like 1 or 2. I said, well, I have a pay-per-view that day, and I got to see what my school schedule's like. And he's like, oh, so that's a no. I'm like, I never said that. I said, I got to see what my school schedule's going to be like, because this was actually maybe before March, because I would get my schedules like a couple days before the next month would start. And that's all I said. I said, I have a pay-per-view that I'd like to watch, and I might have class the next day, so I don't want to be out too late. And he kind of just freaked out about that. And then my transplant anniversary was coming up, and which, if you're a transplant patient and you don't make a big deal about your transplant, I don't know why, because you should. It's literally, this is the best way I'm going to describe this. It's literally your second birthday, because it's your second chance at life. And you should celebrate that, because I do. I mean, not because I do, but you should celebrate it. It's a good day to celebrate. So I was kind of talking about, like, oh, it sucks that I'm going to, not be with Kevin and my mom, and, like, because we would always go out to eat or something and do something. She's like, oh, what's your favorite pizza place? And I said, Giordano's, because that's my favorite pizza place. I love Giordano's. Giordano's, you should sponsor this podcast. We all love your pizza. My address is 666. No, I'm just kidding. No. He's like, oh, so maybe I'll call Giordano's and see if they can do like a little party for you. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, do it. That would be amazing. I would love that. Like, please do that. Make me feel at home a little bit. And He's like, okay, I'll see about it. So I went to school or whatever. Came back. I was like, hey, did you talk to Giordano's? I said, I want to know if I should take my camera or not. Nah, I thought about it and didn't think it'd be a good idea. I was like, what do you mean? Well, they probably they're not probably gonna, you know, acknowledge a transplant anniversary. He's like, that's not really a big thing that people do. And I'm like, sitting there like, okay, where I come from, that's a fucking huge thing to celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said,
Absolutely.
it's your second chance at life. And I'm lucky enough to have 3 chances at life, and so for me, it was even a bigger deal. And, and even more so, it was a bigger deal for me because I had been losing a bunch of weight, and I had been kind of keeping my promise to my donor, Kevin, that I would get in shape. And I hadn't done that until then. So I was like, okay, well, do you want to come hang out with me? I'm going to go, probably to, you know, the park or something. I don't know. Go have a nice dinner. I was like, I'll pay for yours, even though you should pay for mine because it's my kidney birthday. No, I'm just going to sit at home. I was like, oh, okay. That's cool, I guess. So I spent my entire kidney birthday alone at a mall. um, because he didn't want to come hang out with me. And I just like, well, this is kind of shitty. And I came home that night, probably 7, 8 o'clock. I'd bought a new camera, and I went to Wahlburgers because I'd always wanted to try that. So I was like, let's try it here. And he's like, oh, where'd you go eat? I said, oh, I went to Wahlburgers. Oh, I've always really wanted to try that place. I should have gone with you. Wish you would have said something. I was like, well, I asked you to go with me. I said I didn't know where I was gonna go to eat until literally I drove right past it. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going there. So that was the big that was the first really thing that kind of pissed me off about him. Was he was kind of he put the blame on me for not. He said I didn't ask him to go to Wahlburgers, which I didn't, but I also didn't know I was going. That's and then the whole thing about the baseball game. I think those were the two things that kind of we butt heads. That's where we started to kind of butt heads, in my opinion. Further down the road, just little things again, nitpicking. He was always still, even this was 5-6 months later, about my friend Alyssa, my friend Alyssa, who I was with when I broke my leg, still going on about her. And I'm like, dude, let it go. She lives in Arizona. I live in Florida. She's too far away to ever try to break my leg again, since according to him, that's what she did. So we, again, like I said, just nitpicking kind of things here and there. We go to Blaze Pizza for 3.14, which is Pi Day, and they gave away pizzas for $3.14 on Pi Day, which is amazing, and I love that. I hope they do it again this year. And I was vlogging it. I was vlogging the whole day. We were in line for probably 45 minutes, and I had to again make sure that he wasn't in the video. And I was like, dude, it's not gonna hurt you to be in this video. We can do it as a collab. I was just trying to think of all these ways that I could get him into the video, and
Right.
nothing. He didn't want to do any of it. I'm like, well, shit, And my whole thing, and I had said this in videos leading up to Florida, I said, I'm not going to be confined to my room anymore. I said, I'm going to be out. I'm going to be in a living room. Or I think I said, I'm going to be out doing things, but I won't be in my room. I'll be in my living room, but that's a different room from my bedroom. And you go back and look at all those videos, I'm in my bedroom still. Because he was in the living room all the time. And we did agree at one point that it was hard, and it was. Living in a one-bedroom place with 2 people, unless they're your significant other, it's the hardest thing ever. Because in a weird way, I got any privacy that I wanted, but he couldn't get the privacy he wanted. And I still, and this is probably like the worst thing to feel, but I still do feel bad that like we never tried to look for another apartment or try to get another room or something. Um, but then again, I feel like he really wasn't planning on staying there the whole time he was there. Um, so fast forward to WrestleMania. I remember stuff by wrestling pay-per-views because I am addicted to wrestling. Um, fast forward to WrestleMania. Um, we I like to go all out for WrestleMania. I like to get a nice meal and all this stuff because I'm crazy. And I went to Blaze Pizza because I thought this place is the bomb. Gonna go get Blaze Pizza and have a nice little pizza, some drinks, all that good stuff. And I told him that. He's like, "Oh, I'll come get some food with you." Blah blah blah. He's like, "I'll come get some food with you, and we'll get some snacks and just enjoy the night." And I was pretty surprised by him saying that because a month and a half ago he was kind of dreading even watching wrestling. So I was excited. We go get our food and all this stuff, and we're just hanging out, enjoying it. He's asking questions, which sometimes does annoy me when I'm watching wrestling with somebody if they start asking questions. I don't know why. It just always has. But so he's asking and it was like sometimes I think he was doing it just to see if I was like paying attention, and like he would ask me like, "Oh, why did he kick out?" I was like, "I don't know, because it wasn't supposed to win. I didn't write the show, okay?" So, he's just kind of asking me random questions, and then, at the time, his father wasn't doing very well, and so he was. I think it helped take his mind off of some things that I was acting all like a psychopath because I was really into that show. For some reason. I don't know what it was. I don't really ever get into wrestling when I'm watching it. Like, it's weird. I like watching it, but I don't get into it. I don't know. I'm a very weird person. So the next day we're like, okay, we need to get out and do something because we've been sitting in this house for, at the time, like 2 months now, or 3 or 4 months. Actually 4 months because this was April. This was April. And that day he wanted to find the what the hell is the show? With like oh my god. What the hell? I can't think. My brain's not moving. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. There you go. Game of Thrones. Oreos that they had out. He's like, "Oh, this will get views because people think there's different flavored or whatever." So we were driving around. We drove all around like Orlando and like surrounding areas that day looking for these fucking Oreos. Finally, 3 or 4 o'clock at night, we find them. And we're driving around. He's like, "All right, I need to get something to eat. I'm going to stop at Publix and get some drinks or something." Because, like, this is the other thing that, like, I ended up doing it because he was doing it just so I could get out of the house. He would never keep more than, like, 4 days' supply of drinks in the house. Like, it was I don't know, like, I started doing that because, like I said, I wanted to get out of the house. So he's like, "I need to get some drinks anyway." And then he gets a call that his dad unfortunately passed away, which that's a shitty thing to go through. I don't,
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that yet. Any of my 18 dads that I claim that are my dad, when they pass away, it's going to suck. So again, back to me not showing emotion. Like he's like emotional and like, again, shitty thing to happen, and I'm so sorry for your loss. But he's like, "Why aren't you like, you should be sad." Cue the Halsey song. And I, and I'm just like, I don't know what to feel right now. I said I'm sad. I said it sucks. Like, but I didn't know the man, and I have no reason to like be bawling or crying or anything, And so he's like, "Okay, I gotta get a bus ticket, blah blah blah," and he gets his bus ticket. I drive him to the bus station at 4 o'clock the next morning, I want to say it was. He's like, I'll be back in a couple weeks. I said, okay, cool. Just take all the time you need, whatever. When I said, oh my God, my voice. When I said that, I did not mean for him to take it literal. So, a couple weeks goes by. I said, hey, are you coming back? No, I got to arrange some things in New York for my dad, whatever. I said, okay, I get that. A month goes by. Hey, still got a lot of things to go with my dad. Whatever. I'm like, okay. So at this point, I call my mom. I'm like, what should I do? Because he still paid rent and all that. I told him not to pay electricity because that would be pointless.
He wasn't there.
Exactly. He wasn't there, but I still needed help with the rent because at this point I think it was only like $1,024 for rent, which isn't too terribly bad, but still needed help with that. And I said, Mom, what do I do? Like, do I just like tell him not to come back? She's like, you fucking tell him that and I'm going to come kick your ass. I was like, okay. I won't tell him that. So I asked him, I said, hey, when do you think you're going to come back? Oh, I really don't know now. I took a job here. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, yeah, I took a job. It's only for a couple months, but just needed some more money. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. He's like, May, I'll be back, maybe end of May, maybe July. That's literally what he said to me. I was like, oh, so you're giving me like a 2-month time frame that I have to guess when you're going to come back. So time goes on. July comes around, Stranger Things comes on. I binge watch that. He still's not there. I got involved in a fucking pyramid scheme. He's still not there. So I call them in July, or towards the middle of July. He's like, oh yeah, I'll be back next month for sure. I was like, okay, cool. So I came back home to Illinois because I had some doctor's appointments and stuff like that to take care of, and it was my birthday month, and I had an online class, and just wanted to come home. And he calls me the day after I flew home. So he planned this, obviously. Because there's no way you just show up the day after somebody leaves, like by happenstance in my book. So he planned to come back when I was gone. And he calls me, I think it was like the 8th or 9th, something like that, in August. And he's like, I could hear, like he had like tears, like, how could you do this? That's exactly what he sounded like. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This place is a mess. You didn't clean, you didn't do dishes, you didn't flush the toilet, you didn't clean the bathroom, like, at all since I've been gone. And I'm like, sitting there like, okay, I had a little bit of tough time mopping and sweeping, but I did it to the best of my abilities. I know I cleaned the bathroom. I damn sure know I did dishes because I cooked almost every night that I was home except for maybe like 3 or 4 times in that whole 4-month period. He's like, there's maggots on the floor, there's flies in the refrigerator. And I'm like, there's no way there's flies in the refrigerator because there's no food in the refrigerator. I threw everything out before I left because I didn't know if you were going to be back to eat it. So he's freaking out, like, all this shit, and I'm just, like, sitting there, like that's some stuff, like, when somebody accuses me of something, that's, like, when I get emotional and I, like, begin to cry. So I'm sitting on the other end, like, about to be in, tears. Because I'm like, I know that I didn't do any of that. I know that I cleaned the bathroom. I know that I cleaned, I knew that he was lying at this point. Like, and I also knew that maybe, yes, the floor was probably a bit dirtier than he expected. But again, I have fucking scoliosis. It's hard for me to stand up for more than 5 minutes. So, maybe the floor wasn't as clean as it could have been, but I did my best. And, like, back to what I said, I don't think he understood that. So, I'm, like, sitting there, and my mom comes home, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm just like, Mom, I don't know how much longer I can do this with him. She's like, what? And she, I told her. I said, he said all this, like flies in the fucking freezer and in the refrigerator, which I don't even know how that happens. I don't think it does. I've never seen it. And she's like, well, your lease is up in a couple months, so just stick it out until you guys can get a double bedroom. I said, okay, you're right. That's what I need to do. So then she goes, actually, tell him to send you pictures of what it looked like. Because he had said that he took pictures of everything before he cleaned it. And he's like, okay, I will. I'm still waiting for those pictures. Like, I'm waiting for the money for the rest of my laptop. Or for the rest of the money for my laptop. So I'm just like, I apologized. Because I knew if I didn't, he was going to hold a grudge against me. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'll do better. So, also, this is something that I don't think I told you this, but I might have. If I did, whatever. I didn't tell the podcast. I've told nobody else this. So before I left to go to Florida, my plan was to park my car at the school because I knew it was going to be safe there. And I was going to take an Uber from the school to the airport. So he texted me a couple weeks before, or a couple days before I left, I think. Hey, can you leave the keys for me? I said, well, no, because I, don't want my car to get stolen. I'm going to park it at my school in the lot that the school kind of knows what I'm going to do. And he's like, okay, well, just going to say this. If you don't leave the keys, I can't go do reviews and I can't pay the half of the rent, and then it's up to your mom to pay the whole rent. How do you feel about that?
And instantly guilt trips you. Instantly.
Yep. Yeah, guilt trip and blackmail. That's like literally the two things that he just did right there. And I sat there for maybe an hour and a half just contemplating what to do. Because at this point, I really didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, I wasn't going to tell my mom that, obviously. And I wasn't going to tell any of my family that. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll leave the keys. So luckily, I had 2 sets of keys for my car. And because my mom, she's like, show me your keys. I was like, okay. Showed her the second set of keys that I had. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever. So that's when things started getting really weird with Eric, because I checked the mileage on my car before I left, because that was like one thing my mom told me to do. She's like, he might be able to hotwire it. He's from New York. I was like, that's kind of racist, Mom, but okay. So I just noticed. I was like, this guy's doing a lot more reviews, and a lot of these places are nowhere near where we live. And I texted him and I said, hey, might want to hold off on the reviews, or hold off on going longer distances, in case my mom sees. And he's like, oh, your mom will never see my videos, whatever, blah blah blah. So I'm just like, okay, again, guilt tripping me, like, because again he said, oh, I got to do these so I can get money, so I can pay rent. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll fill it up with gas, though, before I come pick you up from the airport. So I had left. When I left, I had like a half a tank of gas in there. He left it on empty for the most part when I got back home to Florida. And I'm just like, I thought you were going to fill this up. Oh, well, I really didn't have much money. I'm like, but you're going all over hell and creation to do these reviews and you don't have money? I'm like, dude, you just don't make any sense. I was like, whatever. So I put gas in my car the next day. And then around this time, my wheel, actually, hold on, let me go back. So
talk about the White Claw.
Oh, yeah, the White Claw. So I get on YouTube one day, and hold on, I need to open a drink. There we go. I get onto YouTube one day, and first thing I see, White Claw, blah, 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 hot girl summer. I don't even know what the hell the description or the title was. But I'm like, okay, he's fucking drinking in my car, which I don't drink. Like, that's like one of my biggest things is like I can't say never, but I've taken 3 sips of alcohol in my entire life. and I don't drink. I don't like it. I just all this stuff. So I see that as like, hey, did you drink in my car? Oh yeah, but it was in the parking lot of the apartment complex. I was like, okay, where? Because I can point out, like in all those videos that he did, I can point out exactly where he parked in the complex at least. And I knew he wasn't in the complex. I knew he was at a Chick-fil-A because he used to go to the Chick-fil-A down the street to film. And I'm like, oh, so you did this in the Chick-fil-A parking lot? Yeah, I did, but I only took like a couple sips, so I wasn't really, buzzed or anything, and it's only like a half a mile, so it's not a big deal. I was like, it is when the registration is expired on my car. You don't have a license, and you're not on my insurance. I said, if you would have happened to have gotten pulled over, I would have been in a world of trouble, and so would have you. And he's like, oh, no, it's no big deal. I said, think about this. I know you didn't throw it away. I know you probably drank that whole thing after you were done reviewing it. You had an open container in the car. I said, I know this is Florida, but you probably would have gotten arrested for that. And
definitely.
And he just acted like it was no big deal. And I'm like, okay, so like I'm gonna fucking pray to God you get a car while you're still living here, and I'm gonna go shoot up meth in your car in front of a police officer and see how you like it. Like he wouldn't have liked that at all.
I mean, here's the thing. And this is personally what I would have done. If that was me and he would have got caught, obviously the car is going to come back registered to you.
To my mom, actually, because it's in my mom's name.
And they would call her.
Oh, yeah.
Be like, hey, what's up? Right then and there, if I would have got that phone call as your mom, I would have reported the car as stolen.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. Because, like, oh my God, I could not believe it. Like,
that's such an idiotic thing to do. And just so irresponsible. And it's fucked up, man. Like, that's your car. Like, if you have your own car and you want to drink and drive and do shit like that, man, go for it.
Exactly. Like, it was my car. It's in my mom's name and my name, so it's in both of our names. It's in someone else's name. You're not insured. You're driving without a license. The car's registration is expired. That was the main reason that I didn't want to leave him the keys too, because I knew the registration was going to expire when I was back home. And so like he picks me up. There's no gas in the car, like I said, and we go out to dinner. And or no, was this before or after? This is a different time. But we go out to dinner one night because I was in a trial after I broke my leg for just to make sure that I didn't get addicted. That I didn't get addicted to painkillers. That was the whole thing. And they sent me. Oh my God. they sent me a $150 check or something like that for this study. What does he do? Oh, we should go out to eat, blah, blah, blah. We should go to this, whatever. We've never been here. And, of course, me being who I am, nice guy, I said, okay, let's go. Luckily, wasn't a lot of money that place. It was like, I think, $30 for both of us. Food was terrible, by the way. So we get back inside, and I roll my wheelchair in. Well, he had moved stuff around during the day, I guess. I don't know what had happened. But I rolled into this little microwave stand that had, like, the flour and sugar and stuff on it. And I hit the flour container, and it busted all over the place. It looked like fucking, I don't know the name from Scarface, but looked like he had sneezed.
Montana.
Tony Montana. It looked like Tony Montana's desk in my kitchen. And he, like, again, you would have thought that I had a gun to his head with the look on his face. And I was like, it's not that bad. It's just, a little flour. It can be cleaned up. I'll vacuum it up because I had bought a vacuum. And got it cleaned up, whatever. All good and well. Time goes on. Not as bad, those last few months are spoiler alert. Those last few months, into October weren't too bad. September. The one main thing was my wheelchair started crapping out on me, so he would voluntarily drive me to school, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. saves me a little bit of time because I'm not always going to get a good spot, and I know that if you're driving, I'll get a good spot. And that's when I started to notice too that the speedometer, or not the speedometer, the mileage was going up. Because he's like, oh, I'm going to go do a review. I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, we lived in an area that was like filled.
Everything is close together. That's how
Yeah,
Florida is. Like if you live in a good area, everything is within like a 5 mile radius. Anything
like,
you could possibly ever want.
yeah. Like, you go look up Full Sail University in, like, restaurants, and it's going to look like a Predator website pop up. Like, that's what it's literally going to look like. And so I knew, like, I was like, this guy's going other places to get coffee or, donuts or whatever the hell he was getting. 'Cause that's what he would do in the morning, was go to Dunkin' Donuts. And sometimes he'd go to one that was, like, way off the beaten path, which I never understood. So, yeah, that thing, that kind of pissed me off. Got the wheelchair fixed, and luckily, I think he got pissed off when I started driving myself back to school. So then time comes for his little fair that he does in October. And I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna go. You want to come do this with me? I was like, no, I can't leave school to come do a fair with you for 2 months.
So what did he do? Was he like a carny?
He did everything. I get like Master Carney. I don't know if that's a thing, but he did like flyers. He handed out flyers. He I don't know, just all this stuff. He worked ticket booths. He parked cars. All this crazy stuff that he did. He was like really tight with the owner of the fair or whatever. So more power to him. But he's like, just take 2 months off. I'm like, dude, I'm not taking 2 months off. I'm gonna be here enough as it is. I don't want to be here even longer. Like, I have plans.
Right.
So, he does this, and I want to backtrack a little bit. So, in September of that year, I had got a thing. This was my first year at the school. In September, I had gotten a thing saying that I owed, like $60,000 in tuition, and I started freaking out. I'm like, if I have to pay this, I'm dropping out. I'm moving back home. And he was freaking out about it because, like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to stay here. My mom's not going to help me pay for an apartment if I'm not here doing anything. And I was just like, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And finally got that all resolved. And then literally, that's where this whole carnival stuff started, fair stuff, whatever. He's like, okay, I'm going to leave for, I'll be back in November. Because this thing lasted, like, he was gone from, like, second week of October to Thanksgiving, I want to say.
How did he stay? In like a hotel?
Yeah, the company that ran the fair paid for a hotel. So, I guess it was a nice hotel. I don't really fucking know. So, yeah, he's like, I gotta, I'm gonna go do this. I'm like, that's cool. Do what you need to do. And he's like, I'll be back probably into November. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I didn't have any plans to go home for Thanksgiving. It was pointless to me, honestly, because I get 3 days off for Thanksgiving. So it's like you're taking 2 of those to fly. And, so
Right.
didn't go back home. And just whatever that came up. Best time of my life, honestly, when I was in Florida was those months, those 2 months that I was by myself, which sounds bad, but it was. I mean, I went and saw We the Kings, and Charles and I like talked for like 20 minutes, which was amazing. And to that, like, this is the funny thing. He called me the day after I posted that video, and he's like, yeah, I understand the whole Charles thing. He's your hero, and he gave you the blessing to break his record, because, like, literally, that's what he did in that video. You've probably seen it. So he goes, do it. I'm ready to retire. And, like, that was like, what the hell, And he's like, but you should have just took out all that concert footage. I was like, why? Well, you were in the front row. and you couldn't hear it. I was like, okay, but still, like, that was the whole point of the vlog, was to go to that concert.
Right.
And there's like 3 or 4 comments on that video that say, "Oh my God, thank you so much for filming the whole thing." Oh my, like, so, there's people out there that like that kind of stuff, like, because they can't go, and I'm one of those people. Like, I watch all these kind of concerts, and because I wasn't there, and that goes back to another kind of thing that pissed me off about him was, I have always wanted to start a Kiss tribute band. That's like my biggest like goal in life for some reason. I don't know. Some people want other things, and that's what I want. So this is when I was in Florida, when I kind of really started, I guess, pursuing this dream. And he goes, "Oh, why don't you get out and do something today instead of sitting around and watching the same goddamn Kiss concert for the 50th time?" And I'm just like I didn't know what to say. I was speechless, honestly. I was like, okay, listen, this is like something that I want to do. I'm studying this so that I can pull it off. It's not like did I like watching the same Kiss concerts over and over again? A little bit, yeah, but it gets repetitive after a while. But when you're trying to learn something, it works, and that was what I was.
It's the best way to learn.
Exactly. And so I'm like sitting there like thinking like, okay, if you were gonna start New Kids on the Block tribute band, wouldn't you sit and watch 8,000 New Kids on the Block concerts? And I don't know why I said New Kids on the Block, but whatever. Just pulled it out of my ass. So that was like another thing. And like, he's just like, nobody wants to see that concert footage. They don't want to hear it. That's what he said. And I was like, well, I'm sorry that I was sitting front row, and that obviously I made an impression on everybody in the band, because if you watch through the whole video, they all say something about me sitting there. And like, that was like the one thing that really pissed me off. And I was just like, I don't fucking belittle your videos. I don't put down your videos. I give you advice on them because you asked for it. Like, stuff like that. But I'm not telling you not to upload a video because you're too close to something. And like, yeah, it's hard to hear those clips, but you can make out what they're saying. And that's what matters to me. And then he's like, well, what was the whole thing with Charles? I was like, well, did you not listen? He literally told me to go after the record, gave me his blessing to break the record, and told everybody to subscribe to me. Well, that wasn't on his channel. I said, okay, I don't expect him to put me on his channel. Like, why would he? I've met the guy like 3 times, I think, now, and I don't expect him to pull out his camera and be like, hey guys, this is Lucas Starr, he's gonna break my record. He wouldn't do that. Like, I mean, maybe, I don't think he would do that, but I just like, dude, okay, whatever. And then he's like, oh, and Coley was super hammered. I was like, okay, yeah, I knew that. Like, going into this, like, that's how he is. He drinks a lot. It's during a show. It's like, whatever. And I made mention of that. And he's just like, well, I'll be back probably a couple weeks. I was like, okay. So, like I said, fast forward to Thanksgiving now. He's still not back. And he tells me, oh, I'm going to wait till the holidays. I'm going to come back after the holidays. I want to spend the holidays with my mom. It's her first holiday without my dad. Okay, here's something that nobody knows, I don't think. His parents were divorced for like 20 years. So, how does that work?
Right.
My grandma and my grandpa were divorced, I think before my last aunt was actually born, which she's in her 40s now. So they were divorced a long time. My grandma didn't care that, about that kind of stuff. Neither did my grandpa. My grandpa was doing all kinds of crazy shit, honestly. That's from what I've been told. I was like, just thinking like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. But every time he would call me, make sure the house is clean. Is the house clean? Send me pictures of the house. Is it clean? I'm like, dude, I go to school every day, so yes, it's clean. I said, I literally come in, make dinner, and go to bed. That was my day. And at Full, like when I was going to school at Full Sail, eat, school, sleep, repeat. That was my day. So then, like I said, he said wouldn't be back until after the holidays. I was like, okay, that's cool. I said, remember, our lease is coming up, so we got to figure out if we're gonna get a new place or what we're gonna do. He's like, let's just get like a 4-month lease. I was like, our apartment doesn't offer a 4-month lease. It's 6 to 12, 6, 8, or 12. I guess we'll do a 6. I said, okay. So this is where it gets fun. So around Christmas time, I said, hey, where's your rent? Because I'd always ask him around that time of the month, like, where's your rent money? And he said, okay, I'll send it, whatever. I'll send it before Christmas. Christmas comes around, no rent. It's like, okay, he's spending it with his family. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Day after Christmas, still no money. I had doctor's appointments that day, so I didn't bother him because I was already stressed out enough. And next day I said, hey, where's the money? Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it yet. I'll get it to you. By the way, he has no bank account or bank information. He uses somebody else's. So yeah, that's fucking weird.
Which is super weird. And didn't he use like the whole excuse too of like YouTube is behind on payments and shit too?
He said YouTube was behind on payments, and then I think I asked Trav. I said, "Do you get payments?" I don't think he did at the time. And
Trav still doesn't. I get payments.
Yeah, but I know I didn't ask you, so I'm trying to think who I asked. I asked somebody if they were getting their YouTube payments. He's like, "Oh yeah." Oh, it was Tony. That's who it was. He's like, "Oh yeah, I get mine every same day every month." I said, "Okay." So I said, I asked him. I said, "Hey, YouTube's working fine." I asked a couple people. Oh, well, PayPal is down because of the holidays. I was like, what do you mean PayPal is down because of the holidays? He's like, oh, yeah, because so many people are trying to transfer money, it's slow. He sent it. It just hasn't got to you yet.
And mind you, he didn't use his own PayPal, guys. He went through somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. So I asked. So I looked it up. I said PayPal issues on Twitter or something like that. Nothing at all. Nothing. So I'm like, okay. My mom is freaking out. She's like, he's not going to fucking pay. He's not going to, whatever. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's definitely not going to pay. So I think it was, I had to come back on the 4th to Florida. And I had to, so I left on the 4th. Or the 3rd or 4th, something like that. My rent was due on the 1st. By the 1st, he still hadn't said anything about it, hadn't sent it. 2nd comes around, which is a day late, and they charge you $50 extra per every day that you're late. So we were a day late, so it was $50 extra. So I messaged him. I said, hey, rent's late. Give me an extra $100 because I'm not paying for your mistake or your problem. And he's like, okay, I'll send you the money today. He's like, by the way, I'm not coming back. I'm like, what do you mean you're not coming back? He's like, I'm going to stay here with my mom. She's moving to Alabama, so I got to get her help. I got to help her, blah, blah, blah. Something like that. And at this point, I don't know what to do. And I started texting people. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Because he never signed a lease, so I can't hold him to the lease. I can't anything like that. So my mom and I start talking, and she's just like, tell him to send half the rent plus the $100 and anything he owes you. And I said, okay. So I texted him. I said, you owe me this much money, which was, I'm going to actually look because I sent it to my friend Alyssa because I want to get this right.
I would imagine. I mean, what if he was paying over $600 in rent? I mean, he probably owed you close to like, if not over $800.
Plus the computer. Yeah, I'm trying to find this message right now.
So he definitely owed you over $1,000.
I would say close to maybe $2,000 total.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I found the message. I sent this to Alyssa on the 5th of January. Here's the breakdown for the 12th and final rent payment for the apartment 12-month lease. 520 apartment deposit back to me. 403 what I owe you from 1/20/20 through 1/23 lease and end date. 117 balance owed to me. $300 computer. 183 is what I owe to finalize the lease and complete all money owed to you for the computer. He paid me $183.
It's
When
unbelievable.
when he owed me well over okay, so rent was 543 or something total for him. Plus the extra $100 I tacked on for him being late. And so that's like I'll round up and say 650.
Yeah.
Plus the computer, which was 300. So there's $900 right there. Yeah, 950 right there. Plus we never put down a deposit. So he took a deposit out of his own. Plus the 450 that he took from the deposit. So well over $1,000. And he paid from that 183.
Which is just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And we had agreed that he would come back on the 7th or 8th to get his stuff. And this is where this if this wasn't the final straw, it would have been the final straw. So I have to fly back home, get an Uber because I have nobody to pick me up at the airport now. And he tells me, he's like, I'll be there the 7th or the 8th to get my stuff. He still had left all of his stuff at my apartment. And I said, okay, well, I left some of I put some of his stuff wherever. I told him that. He's like, okay, cool. So I get back to Florida, get an Uber, which I was so like stressed out and everything. I had like fucking diarrhea. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I was having a bad day on that plane, and because I was like, okay, I have to face Eric one final time. I don't know how it's gonna go. It's gonna be fun. Probably not though. I just wanted to see what he was gonna do. So get the Uber. The Uber driver was the best Uber driver I think I've ever had in my life. I get in the car. Hey, dude, want to smoke a blunt? I was like, what?
Jesus.
I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, well, I need to smoke a cigarette. Do you mind? I said, no, whatever. Go for it, dude. And we get back to my apartment, and he's like, dude, can I take a piss in your place? And I said, I guess. I mean, he did help me with my wheelchair and all this stuff. He helped me with my luggage, and he's just a really nice guy. And of course, I was like, dude, go ahead. Gonna let you know my apartment's kind of probably gonna be a little bit of a mess because I left some stuff in a hurry. Like, I had left my office chair in the living room and my little table desk that I had in the living room before I left. And he walks in before me. I open the door and he walks in before me. Dude, your place is immaculate. And that's how I knew he was there, because he's a fucking clean freak. So I turn on the light. All of my desk was pushed under the little bar thing that I had said earlier. And all of my stuff was in a wagon that I had bought because I had no help getting groceries in, so I had to buy a wagon to help myself get groceries in. All of my stuff that was sitting in the living room, my living room, because he didn't live there anymore, was all literally thrown onto my bed. And I'm not talking just a couple pairs of a hoodie or something, a laptop, hard drives, shoes, and I think my Apple Watch as well. All thrown onto my bed, other stuff put in that wagon and pushed into my room with the door shut, to where I could barely even get in my room. So I'm like, what the fuck? Called my mom. He was here. And my mom went off. Make sure he didn't steal anything, blah, 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 blah. Because I had my PlayStation, I had all this stuff there, my TV, and I didn't know what he had done,
Right.
So, excuse me. Look around, nothing's missing. And the big thing that I notice is there is a shit pile of dishes in the sink, and I'm telling you, stacked. Like all of the plates and all of the bowls stacked in the sink. And I had like a brand new set of bowls and plates and stuff, like a dinner plate and a salad plate and a soup bowl. That's what it came with. And I swear to God, every single one of those dishes was in the sink, unwashed, just sitting there. And I don't know how long they had been sitting there. Food, no food in the freezer at all or refrigerated. He had thrown everything out, like stuff that I had bought, like food that was supposed to be in the freezer and stuff like that. All my drinks were gone, except for like a gallon of water and some milk. So yeah, like called my mom, told her all this stuff, reported back to her, and she was so pissed off, and I was pissed off, and again, like I said, I didn't feel good that day. I was stressed out, and I still can't believe that he just went in there without my permission at that point, and he mailed back the key. Thank God. I didn't think he was ever gonna do that. But since I would say January 10th or 11th, I have not heard from him. So over a year now that I have not heard from him.
Which is honestly better off. And another thing you told me too, because I asked about this and we talked about it on my Twitch channel a while back, was this guy at this time had a lot of subs when he left. Like he had grown on YouTube tremendously. Because
he sold out, I should mention that.
Yeah, he did.
If you guys know who we're talking about, I don't know if his name will get edited out or not yet, but he had made a song about Dame Drops, and that Review Bra was gonna dethrone him, I guess is the right word. Sold out and did a video with Dame Drops after this guy had talked so much shit about him, never was gonna do a collab even if he paid him, blah blah blah, all this stuff. Made a video with him, and that's how he gained all his subscribers.
And here's the funny thing too, is this man made so much money off YouTube. Living legend, let me tell you. Lucas and I actually know somebody like that, big YouTube influencer making like $63 a month living in New York, doing great.
Yeah.
Living the life, but that's neither here nor there. This man would call the fast food places where he was doing his reviews and beg them for free meals to review.
Yes.
He never paid for his food. There was the one guy, was it Taco Bell or McDonald's, that got sick of his shit and told him no?
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Because he offered promotion to them. I'll drive all these people to your location. But if you watch any of those videos, he never says what state he's in. Mm-mm. He never talks about the location of this place, nothing like that. So he was literally just getting free food.
Right. And this is a thing that I don't think I even told you. So, have you heard of Moe's? It's
yeah. I've ate there a few times.
Oh yeah. So we lived right next to one. Like literally, I could throw a rock and hit the place. That's how close we were. And we would go there all the time because they have fucking good food, and it was cheaper than Chipotle.
Yep.
So we would go there all the time, and we made friends with the manager. Now, this manager was like super, like, just the nicest manager I've ever met. Like,
didn't they offer him a job and he turned it down?
That was Dunkin' Donuts.
That was Dunkin' Donuts. Okay.
Yeah. So this guy at Moe's, I think his name was Sam, I want to say. Shout out to Sam if you're listening. You have dreadlocks. You know who you are. He just was like such a sweetheart. Like, he went in there and he's like, "Hey, can I get like this new whatever they had out at the time?" He's like, "Oh yeah. I'll give it whatever you want for free. Whatever you want. Who's your friend here with you? Whatever he wants. Anytime he wants a free meal, come in and get it." And I'm just like, "What? And I don't think he ever mentioned, I think he might have mentioned his name once in a video. but other than that, never like shouted him out or anything. And I told the guy, I said, what it was that he started talking to me was I had a shirt made that said Transplant Mania, kind of a play off of Hulkamania or WrestleMania. And he asked me about it. And he's like, he loved the story that, I had a transplant. I gave him a bracelet and all that stuff. And he's like, dude, yeah, for sure. Now, if you ever need anything, like, just let me know. He's like, if you need like a part-time job, when I can get you one, I'll get you one. All this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, that's amazing. So I go in there one day after he had left, and he's like, dude, where's he at? Where's your friend? Hasn't been in here in like 3 months. I said, yeah, he moved away. I wasn't gonna lie to this guy because this guy was gonna give me free food, and I was like, he moved. Oh, really? What happened? I said, oh, I don't know. Just he moved. Oh, that sucks, bro. How you doing? You doing okay? I said, oh yeah, I'm okay. He's like, whatever you want, it's on me. And I was like, shit, thank you. And, I left him a nice little tip and stuff like that for that. And that's something he would never do. He would never leave these people tips either. Like, and that's one of the things coming from the mother of a manager or a waitress, rather. Like, I hate when people don't tip. Like, I don't care.
That's fucked up.
I know, like, not everybody can do 20% like you're supposed to do or whatever. But something is better than nothing. So, that was a thing. And then he got offered a job with option to be manager after, I think, 3 months at Dunkin' Donuts. And this is right around when his father passed away. So I kind of get why that never happened. But, yeah, he just never took that. And that's something I would have dreamed of having at that point. Like, and he would say, oh, YouTube's my full-time job, One time we were driving back from Blaze, and he told me, he's like, guess how much money I made this year, or this month in YouTube. I said, what? I said, like, 500? I didn't know, honestly. No, way more than that. He's like, I can't tell you the actual number because of YouTube laws. And I go, hold on, stop right there. You can't tell people on your YouTube videos. You can tell a friend and family, but you can't say it publicly on YouTube. That's like the rule that everybody knows. He's like, oh, no, it's they changed it. You wouldn't know because you don't have YouTube monetization. When I tell you I almost fucking wrecked the car, I didn't care. Like, I was like, I almost just drove off into the ravine right next to the road. I was like, this motherfucker, that just goes to show you how cocky he is.
And
like,
here's the funny thing is I remember you telling me that. And then didn't he went and bought, what, 2 Invictus watches?
Yes.
Which are, by the way, guys, very, very expensive watches. Like, not like Rolex expensive, but I mean like
thousands,
$200, $300, $400 for a good one. They're expensive, right?
Yeah. And he was not yelling, picking at me because I had an Apple Watch. And it was the 32 millimeter, the smallest one that they make. And he's like, oh, that's nothing compared to this bad boy. I was like, okay, but this watch does what I want it to do. Your watch is for looks. That's all your watch is for. Like, I don't know. He's like, you need to get a man's watch. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Like,
didn't he take it to the mall to get it fixed?
And they wouldn't fix it.
Because it was fake or something?
They couldn't authenticate it. That's what it was. Because he didn't buy it from like an Invicta retailer. He bought it online somewhere, so they couldn't authenticate it. And I loved that. Like, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I haven't heard from him in over a year now. I see he's still bitching about food on YouTube, so
of course.
That's whatever. I mean, anything that I missed that you can remember?
No, you pretty much you covered everything I remember. That's like everything that you told me.
Yeah.
Which is just like, it's crazy. And Lucas and I we've been recording for almost 2 hours. This is crazy. So we'll just kind of start to wrap it up here. Do you have any kind of like recommendations or anything like that you want to get into?
Hipster. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Shots fired.
I will.
Exposed part 2 with Lucas. We'll get into that.
I don't think she listens to this, but I can't
Oh,
think.
I'd link her though.
Oh God.
I'm
I
just
can't.
kidding.
Okay. I think she would figure out all the shots we fired at her today. I can't think right now. I guess Dustin and I's TikToks, because Dustin is doing a pretty damn good job over there on TikTok, and I'm starting to get more comfortable on there. I think I did one of my best videos the other day with the
The
age
old
one.
face.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, that's
That was incredible.
dude. I went a little crazy after, because like I tried to make my hair like all crazy looking, and I'm just like, I went a little too hard. But yeah, my TikTok is, I think it's Lucas A Starr. I think that's everything that I have, and then I think Dustin's is Disc Central. If I'm right,
Disc.central.
Disc.central. There we go.
Because Disc Central was taken for some reason. Fucking imposter out there.
Sue them. We need to get Dustin verified on TikTok.
We do.
So yeah, that's my recommendation is our TikToks, because I don't know. It seems cliche to recommend myself, so but I did it anyway. Check out my YouTube channels, youtube.com/starvlogs, youtube.com/LucasStar. Thanks to Dustin and Trista for helping me reach my 100 subscriber goal on youtube.com/LucasStar, by the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we're here to do. My recommendation is going to just be don't be a shitty fucking person and take advantage of nice people. Because if any of you listening to this take advantage of Lucas, I will fucking kill you.
And I'll kill you again.
And Lucas will kill you again.
I'll bring you back to life and kill you.
I tried to sound really serious when I said that, so I hope it scared everybody who listened. Because
And
I wouldn't actually like kill anybody.
And I just made it a joke.
Yeah.
Like, I watch a lot of fucking Dexter, so I can make it look like an accident, bitch.
I think Lucas and I could get away with murder. You know what? We're just going to end this here, guys. The FBI listening, we're just joking, man. No, but seriously.
So
thank you for
trash
coming on.
bags, no, oh, what?
We'll talk about that off camera.
Off camera, yeah.
But no, seriously, big shout out to you, Lucas, for coming on here and talking about this, because I know it's something that has been eating away at you for quite some time, and you actually have a documentary in the works about this, correct?
Not exactly about this whole thing, but it'll be touched on. If I still do the documentary, I haven't decided yet. I haven't filmed a single fucking thing for it, so it's honestly, and I'll just tell you right now, it's hard because of COVID, because I want to have so many different things in it, and it's getting to people and helping having people film that don't know how to film themselves. It's difficult. It's a difficult process.
What you should do, and I think this is actually a pretty good idea. I literally just thought of this. You should make that like the vlog that breaks the world record should be the documentary. Documenting the process and all the shit you've been through up until that point, that day.
I actually told somebody this the other day. I said, I'm going to make the day before I break the record the shortest vlog ever. And then the next day will be the longest vlog ever, which will be every single one of my vlogs like sped up, and then the last video will be the actual vlog for that day, and it'll be just regular speed, but it would be like I think the longest is like 500 hours. So it would take like a year to upload probably.
And Lucas would cry in that video.
Yeah, I will cry in the video. I'll pull my... Never mind.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, thank you, Lucas, for coming on here. Definitely be in more episodes soon.
Oh, yeah. I'm always down, so...
All right.
You know, I got nothing better to do.
Yep, and you get to listen to this all back whenever you have time.
I will press L if anybody knows what that is in Final Cut Pro. It's like it fast forwards it. So I listen to when I edit these, I just listen in like supersonic speed. It's really fun. But I haven't missed anything yet, like the fart.
Yeah, that was funny. Lucas is like, he messaged me. He's like, "Did you fart?" Yep, abso-fucking-lutely. Goddamn right, I did.
It sounded like you shoved the microphone up your ass. Okay, so I was worried.
It was a good time. It was a good time. But seriously, man. Again, for the third time, thank you so much.
No problem.
We'll have you on again. Trav will be back next time. But Lucas and I decided last minute to do this. Thank you guys so much for listening. Check us out on Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Email us at bbroshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and check out our TikToks and stuff. It's all going to be in the giant scroll of the description. And yeah, this is really weird not having Trav say this. So, see ya.